Greetings. What Undirheimar is, it is a manifestation of the primal Trojan current as sort of sonic sorcerous work of devotion towards the pre-cosmic powers, the Thurzars. It is a medium that I use to spread the aether, the venomous gnosis that I gather from interacting with the primordial giants. So, Undirheimar is a tool, if you will, to convey that interaction and to convey also through ritualized music what I learn from these communications with the old ones. I wouldn't say I'm an expert on the tradition, really. If you mean like that, like in the written work, it really was that important to me who wrote about it first, who gave it a name first. There's still controversy about that as we speak. I have my opinion on it, but I'm not going to share it here because it's not really that important what I think about it. What is important is that, there are various paths on that tradition and the primordial giants, and one needs to find his own path. That's what is important. In essence, what matters is the basis of your beliefs and the level of devotion you put into it. That knowledge I have of all tradition is mainly through ritual. And I read books, I read the lore, but it is not, and it shouldn't be, the only way to learn. Practice is the key to experience, so direct contact, to connection with the old ones. And yes, I've read the Thurzar books, the sagas, etc. But what I know, what I speak about in my writings and through my music, does not come from reading books. It's from experience. During meditation, rituals, visions, and realization that dawn on me in the after effects of rituals. I became interested in it. That came quite naturally for me. It was a natural transition from the northern paths of Odinism, which I was more into like in the early 90s. I was a devotee of Odin because I was attracted always more to his shamanic aspect, his quest for knowledge, to learn things. But I was always looking for an older power, something older, something that was before the coming of the gods, the northern gods. I was always fascinated by that, like what was more primal. And through the years, I had a lot of visions and insight and stuff. I didn't understand them first. Didn't make much sense to me. Images I had and dreams I had. But I didn't know how to interpret them. But it came to me. And eventually, many years ago, I did fall on the Ikortu's books. And I saw a lot of the links I had and the impressions I had when I was reading his work, his words. A lot of it made sense. Not 100% of it, but I could find myself a lot in his work, and that was good for me because I didn't know there were books about that subject out there. But my method of practicing, though, is much more shamanic in a sense, and to me, shamanism is the oldest spiritual practice that exists, no matter what tradition. Siberian shamanism, Mongolian, whatever. That's not the point. But the core itself of shamanism is what resonates the most with me and is directly linked to the Tertian current, to Tertian worship. The interacting with beings that are not of this world, but outside of it as well. And as I always say, old craft for old beings. For me, that is the best and most powerful way to work with the Tertian current that I can think of. It is the most organic way to work for me, most natural, and it just makes sense. It's just logical for me. Music is ritual work. Not music for the sake of pure entertainment and fame, and that star status that some bands are looking for. But music done in a devotional way is a form of ritual. Music has been part of rituals since ages. In temples, in churches, in groves, in caves, and since the earliest man hit stones with wooden sticks or bones, before everything, any other instruments, I think, inside caverns and caves, growling in front of carved and painted representations of gods and natural spirits. Ritualized music has been there to empower hunting forays, prayers, funerals, calling upon various divinities, and so on. Music is a language that can be imbued with magic if the proper intent is there. With lyrics or not, I mean, I practically have no lyrics in Undirheimar. It doesn't matter. A lot of my songs have no actual words. There are sounds, vibrations. They are both powerful transmitters of magic when the intent is there. And there lies the core of it. Intent. That's very important. And what if the proper way to create intent while creating music is to be focused? To me, isn't it really vital that everyone else understands what I'm singing when I sing in the Undirheimar, when they're listening to it? Everything that I do, what I put out, I never write the few lyrics I have inside the booklets of the albums anyway. It's more something that the listener has to experience, interpret on its own. Those are very personal. But I've been told by many that they feel it. They sense the overall essence of my work through the ritual offerings that Undirheimar creates, that I put out. If listening to Undirheimar helps them reach the altered state in which they can experience communication or simply connection with the old ones to what is outside, then good. It is good. And it's not for the fans. I've never made that music for fans, anyway. But when the listeners understands and grasp the meaning of what I do, no, of course it's pleasing. It's encouraging to know that your work is making, it's creating an effect. It's creating changes in someone's spiritual path or practice. I'm thankful for that. But in essence, it is what it is, and people interpret it as they wish. Not everybody will understand it the same way, and that's not really important. Like I said earlier, it's very personal, so everybody interprets it in his own way. Absolutely not. I mean, I have no control on people's intent when they buy my albums. If all they look for is cool, dark, ambient music, that is not the essence of Undirheimar. How I use it in my practice, most of my ritual work is done using galdr, improvised chanting, and of course, drumming. It is a matter I communicate my intention, how I give homage, I call upon the giants or seek to awaken them, get their attention. Galdr sleeps always, beneath us and all around us. He needs to be woken up, and I use drumming to do that, or hit the ground with my fists to get his attention, so he can assist in my ritual, to be a witness. I have a song of that on the split Undirheimar and Helljarrunar on Black Mara Records, called Vakna Hargalmi, which is just that. I just repeat the calling to wake him up over and over again. Awake or Galmir means. I pretty much do the same in my music as I do in my rituals. And the drone elements aside, of course. In my rituals, I only use my voice, drums, bones, horns, stuff like that. No drones, no effects. And the type of vocals I do, it's more like Tibetan throat singing style. that I use when I do my galdr and that I reproduce in Undirheimar. Indeed, I do. Like I said before, I use throat singing to chant the runes, varlokur, or simply to vocalize my intent during ritual through improvised singing, improvised roaring, I prefer. And I find that throat singing is what resonates the most for me in link with devotional galdr and plain communication with the old ones. The human voice is capable of great magic, and when used in such contexts, and not only to spit out insults and just stupid opinions, unimportant subjects, and mundane mundane chatting in everyday life. Sometimes people need to be silent. There is much to be learned in silence and contemplation. So the why I use throat singing in my rituals, the throat singing style that I do, it's what's called gyoke. Not sure if I pronounce it correctly, but it's one of the lowest lower tones singing out there, and mostly used by Tibetan monks, practitioners of the Bon tradition. And I was never really interested in the very high pitch overtone singing like some of the Mongolian throat singing do, like very, very high pitched. Never was my thing, and I much prefer the very deep lower tones. Resonates a lot more with me and with my work, and it is, I feel, what works best in Thursian shamanic rituals. I associate the low tone throat singing with roaring, as I said earlier, which is itself is associated with Argelmir, or under his other name Ymir, which means the roar, and which I interpret as being the first sound to break the primordial silence of chaos in the very beginning. The Ur sound, this untarnished and pure primal roar, is absolute power and resonance for me. It is the very sound of the Turzar, if they could speak. What language would they speak? Every language and none of it. They are beyond human language. They don't need that to communicate. And we don't really need an actual language to communicate with them, I think. They are beyond that. So, in using the lower tones of throat singing, I managed to open doorways, if you will, rifts between here and the outside, and using frequencies emitted both with my voice or by drumming, or a combination of both at the same time, which is very powerful too. And yeah, it could be used separately or together. Associate the tonality of sound, I guess, with different realms, and either with a voice or drum. If I want to reach like lower in the underworlds, I would go for even lower tones of singing, really, really deep roar. And the same with the drum. I would find on the surface of my drum, there are always sections that have different sounds. It is often in the center, the heart of the drum, but not always. And it changes also. From time to time, it changes location on the drum skin. So yeah, depending on where I want to go, who I want to contact, I would hit different section of the drum or use different tones of singing. But I also have various drums for different purposes also. I have different type of drums, different type of skins. Stag skins, horse skins, it depends. They're all traveling animals for journeying. But often, beyond control, while you are doing the ritual in singing or drumming, the changes operates by themselves. You know, the experience simply goes in a certain way, and you just have to follow. And one can always be in control, because the purpose is not to be in total control all the time anyway. As a matter of fact, ecstatic work in shamanism is to let go. And I may desire initially to go a certain place or contact a certain being, and it's another one that comes up. That happens, and you deal with it, and you just keep on working, and that's how it is. Not always goes as planned. There are the thirds ours anyway, so in a way, to do what you want. It's an illusion to think that you can control them, as some people think that you can just, like in ceremonial magic, just cast circles, order them around, ask whatever you want, and just send them away. That's not really how it works. What I do is not exactly through the true per se, uh, textually, and I never claimed that was exactly what I was doing or what Undirheimar is about. But it's still very close to the basis of it, indeed. Uh, I never encourage anyone to blindly follow, uh, you know, someone's written work. Uh, I much prefer to encourage people to. You can gather information, you can read, you can get inspired, but it's important to forge your own path in relation with the tradition that you are seeking. Just don't make stuff up or dilute the essence of the tradition by mixing it and just changing it so much that it's not even the same thing anymore. Some people do that. Like you don't go around saying, yeah, I'm I'm a follower of the Thursian path, and I work with Loki, with Sotur, with all the Thurzas, and yeah, and Hell Odin also. But doesn't work that way. Communication is indeed a great part of it, a great part of what I do. Communication in various form, of course, and the releasing of the spirit from earthly shackles is also a part of it. Very Eastern in concept, but not exclusively Eastern. Some things, some concept, or above. religions or certain boundaries, certain rules. But since we are living now, and here, the aim is not to just escape and run away from the mundane, from our mundane lives. All is linked, I think, and them and us outside and here in this world, outside and within us also. We must find balance between the night side and the day side work. This reality and the real reality that we do not see with our human eyes. Many completely reject the body in search for the spiritual, and that is a mistake, I think. And neglecting themselves physically completely. When I always say that in order to have a powerful fire burning bright inside a temple, within the holy temple, that temple must be itself strong, built strong, taken care of, and so it's, it is powerful enough to hold that flame, and that temple is your body. On this earthly realm, temples are not just made of stones and wood that you can physically walk inside. They're also that of which you are made of, and it is your sacred duty to take care of it, make it strong, and nourish that inner fire within, that fire of devotion. So yeah, travel, journey beyond, but remember that you are here now, and for a reason. Find that reason and live it. It is those who completely spit on the physical and always it always makes me laugh, because you're always looking for an audience to give them likes on social medias, and looking for attention when they technically shouldn't give a damn, because they don't care about that. Well, they should be hanging themselves so they could be coherent with their words. I guess they're not. And Undirheimar is not meant to convince people anyway of this, or to force, my view onto others. It is an offering to the old ones, which I share openly through the music. I do not tell people, this is the truth, this is how it is, this is how it should be, because I say it. No. It is just my own way of practicing and honoring the oldest powers that are. It's very personal to me, and it's always going to be like that. Well, I am actually right now working on other things which are not Undirheimar, because it's a bit different, but still related, of course. And but it's too soon to talk about it now, so I'd rather keep it from another time. And I guess you're just going to have to wait and see. But it is coming. Yeah, there are books that you can find out there for someone who's, who heard about, the Thursian tradition and doesn't know exactly where to go, how to start. There are books you can find, books written by Ecortu, Liosal, uh, or older writings, by Victor Rydberg. You can even read the sagas also, if you know how to read it in between the lines. It's good for a basis, getting information, a lot of detailed information. But books are not the path. Books are to inspire. It can help you start, but then you have to do your own work. Practice is the path. You will learn basics from books, you know, technical information, examples of rituals, spells and stuff, how to create certain bind runes and sigils, but never as much deeper connection as developing your own rituals yourself out in the woods and just experience yourself. And yeah, it could mean a lot of improvisation, doing like very primal rituals outside at any season. You can do them inside also, it depends if you live like downtown a city or something, but I would encourage more to go outside, seek out nature, get closer to the essence of the Thuzars, and because they are a part of nature, and in stones, in trees, in dark soil, everywhere, the streams, water, in fire, and you need no books to teach you that. If just listen and pay attention to what's around, and meditate, seek out silence in the wild, and you will learn a lot. And through direct contact or indirect contact, could be in dreams. There's various ways to learn things, and so yeah, books can help, but just don't read books. Collect them, put them in your shelf, and that's it. You are a practitioner. That's not how it goes. The purpose is not to collect books and stack them up. Is to actually do the great work. My reading list. Well, I read a lot, and it could be from books on shamanism, different traditions, to Conan the Barbarian from Robert E. Howard, to prehistoric cave art, archaeological books. I have a wide range of interest in books. I like to read on various occult traditions, other former rituals. And as for the artists, well, my favorite painter has always been Frank Frazetta since I was a kid. That hasn't changed. He inspired me a lot for my paintings and all my barbarian-oriented artwork. And musically, aside from the classic old black metal from the early 90s, I always loved to listen to Fields of the Nephilim, like old Fields of the Nephilim. And I really also like to listen to devotional music, like Tibetan monks, throat singing, and it's very introspective. And I love to also bands like Furpa from Russia, very good. Yeah, I have a rather large library of interest in music and art and stuff. Not sure about that. If you mean as in like doing split releases with other bands, because I've done that with Helljarrunar on Black Mara Records from Russia, and but if you mean as a sort of, like you say, educational project to show to the public, well, that's not really my thing. I already do that with Undirheimar in a way. I put it out there for people to listen to. I'm not the type to go around and say, you know, like in schools or something, and explain what it is, what the tradition is, and try to convince people. Nah, it's not really my thing. I don't discuss it with just everyone. Also, I'm doing interviews like this. Of course, goes to a wider range of people, but I don't go out and explain to everybody what I believe, what I do. Not everybody would understand, and my goals are personal. I don't feel the need to go out explaining to everyone in the outside what I do. I let the medium of Undirheimar do that to a wider audience. And if people are curious and wants to know a bit more, they can write me up, contact me, and I'll be glad to answer questions if people ask. But I don't willingly go out first and just, preach it everywhere. It's not my style. Yeah, new material is in preparation right now. But because of that plague going around, a lot of delays happened, and not everything is going to be available as planned. But that's just how it is. You just have to work around it. So you're just going to have to be patient. No book yet. There's a great demand for it, for my writing to be published. So, but not yet, But I'm thinking about that a lot. And for now, you can read my work when I post it on either my Helljarrunar page on Facebook or on my Liturgian Flame on Instagram, and you could find me there. Put like bits of my writing there, not complete text, but parts of it. The rest I keep for eventually publishing something. Maybe at the end of this interview, the links could appear or something, so people can find it. But you just type Helljarrunar on Facebook, not the band, and you could easily find it. And the Liturgian Flame on Instagram. So yeah, thank you for this opportunity to do this interview, my first Undirheimar interview, and the video one that is. So sorry if I seem a bit nervous. It's my first time, and there's also the language barrier. So I hope my accent is not going to complicate things too much for people who listen, and hopefully it will inform people a bit more about what Undirheimar is about, what's behind it, what's at the core of it, the essence of the music, and if if you are interested in the releases that I've done so far on the album Helljarrunar, is on the Cyclic Law on their Bandcamp, or you can go to Undirheimar's Bandcamp to get it from me directly as a real physical CD or digital download. And the split with Hemeya that was released by Black Mara Records, you can get it as a CD on the Black Mara Bandcamp or digital release. From my Bandcamp, it would be just digital release. So yeah, thank you again for this. Hopefully everything flowed properly. Sometimes I feel really awkward when I talk and everything, but that is what it is. So thank you again. Thank you for listening and watching. And if you're one of those that enjoy Undirheimar, not for just the sound of it, but the deeper meaning behind the music, then I hope you will have a great journey. And if there's anything, you can just contact me if you want to know more. But there will be more coming. Just be patient. Thank you.